The hollow mask. You ever buy something just because it feels wrong to leave it behind? That's how I ended up in that dusty Halloween shop on Main Street, the kind of place that smells like old latex and dead spiders. The owner looked like he hadn't smiled since the 80s. I joked about taking the last mask on the shelf, a cracked, pale thing with hollow eyes, and he just said, "Don't wear it after midnight." I laughed. Who listens to warnings from men who smell like mothballs and regret? But when I got home, I noticed something strange. The mask felt warm, like skin. I told myself it was just body heat from the drive, but when I set it down on the counter, it made a soft exhale, like air escaping lungs. I stood there for a long minute, staring, waiting for it to move. It didn't, so I shrugged, turned on the TV, and cracked open the beer. The house felt too quiet that night, the kind of quiet that swallows sound instead of holding it. Outside, the wind kept brushing against the windows like fingertips, and I could swear, every time I glanced at the mask, its expression had changed, slightly. I told myself it was the light, flickering from the TV, playing tricks. But then, as I was heading to bed, I passed the mirror in the hallway and saw something I shouldn't have. In the reflection, the mask was hanging on the coat rack behind me. Only, I never put it there. That was the first time I heard it whisper. Just a breath, almost nothing, but it said my name. Soft, familiar, like someone who'd known me a long, long time. I called in sick to work, told them I had a fever, which wasn't a lie. My whole body felt wrong, like my bones didn't quite remember where they belonged. Every time I touched my face, I could feel something pulsing beneath the surface, like veins that weren't mine. By afternoon, the house had gone still again. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror for almost an hour, trying to convince myself it was all in my head. But the thing looking back at me didn't blink when I did. Its eyes were deeper, hungrier. I tried tearing it off again, this time with scissors. The metal barely touched before I felt it, a scream blooming under my skin. The pain wasn't on the surface, it was inside, like nerves rethreading themselves to match a new face. The smell of burning rubber filled the room, but there was no smoke, no source. That's when I heard it, laughter. Not loud, not distant. Just a soft chuckle behind me, as if someone was leaning close to my ear. I spun around. Nothing. But the mirror, oh, the mirror didn't lie. In it, a second reflection stood behind me, taller, smiling, wearing my old face. The mask had taken it, and now it was wearing me. I smashed the mirror, shards flying like angry glass teeth. For a moment, I thought I saw faces in the pieces, hundreds of them, all trapped inside, screaming without sound. By nightfall, my voice wasn't my own. I recorded myself talking, but the playback came out wrong, deeper, slower. Not me. The house began to change too. Every picture on the wall showed that same blank-faced mask where my face used to be, even childhood photos. It was rewriting my past, replacing me in my own life. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see flashes of a man in a cracked mirror, clawing at his reflection, begging to be let out. And somewhere deep inside, I knew what that mask was doing. It wasn't stuck to me, it was becoming me, and I was the one fading. I remember the moment the air shifted, that dead, heavy quiet that comes before a thunderclap. Only there was no thunder, just breathing. Not mine, his. I gripped the sink, knuckles white, the porcelain slick with sweat. The mask's face in the mirror began to twitch, the smile widening, stretching too far. "Let me out," it said, except the sound came from my throat. I stepped back, but the reflection didn't. It stayed there, still, confident, watching me with my own stolen calm. Behind him, the bathroom lights flickered like dying stars, and for the first time, I realized the room wasn't reflecting me anymore. It was showing somewhere else, another place, dim, wet, pulsing, like the inside of something alive. Then the walls began to breathe, the mirror rippled, and before I could run, he reached out, his pale hand pushing through the glass like water, and grabbed my wrist. Cold, so cold it burned. He pulled hard, and the mirror swallowed my arm up to the elbow. I screamed, but my voice came from his mouth now. I was watching myself scream, and he was smiling, wearing that same cracked mask that had once sat on my table. I kicked, pulled, tore, but he was stronger. Not in muscle, but in intent. Like gravity, like inevitability. He yanked harder, and the glass split open with a sound like skin tearing. For a second, I saw flashes, hundreds of faces behind the mirror, all wearing the same hollow expression, all mouthing the same words, "Let us out." And then I understood. Every person who ever wore it, every one of them was still in there. I made one last attempt to pull free, screamed until my throat tore, but his eyes met mine, calm, final. He whispered, "It's your turn." And then he stepped through. Not just through the mirror, through me. It felt like drowning in smoke, like being erased line by line. The last thing I remember seeing was his face, perfectly molded over mine, seamless. I wasn't looking at him anymore. I was looking from him. I stared at the letters until they blurred. The handwriting looked shaky, desperate, like it had been carved by someone burning alive. And the strangest part, the last letter wasn't finished, like whoever wrote it had been pulled away mid-stroke. That's when a man in uniform noticed me. He called out, asked if I was with the press. I opened my mouth to answer, but the words that came out didn't sound like mine. They were older, calm, polite. He smiled like he recognized me and said, "You're back?" Back? I didn't stick around to find out what he meant. I left before the sun dipped behind the trees. But as I walked home, people kept nodding at me, calling me by that same strange name burned into the ash. Some shook my hand. One woman even hugged me, whispering, "I thought you were gone." I played along. What else could I do? By evening, the house didn't feel like mine anymore. Every photo, every frame, every reflection, they'd all changed. The man in them wasn't me. He wore my clothes, sat in my chair, smiled my smile. But his eyes, those were different, clearer, hungrier. I tried writing a note to explain what happened, but the words twisted halfway down the page, shifting into handwriting that wasn't mine. The pen scraped harder and harder until it broke through the paper. That's when I heard it again, the voice from inside the mirror. Soft, familiar. It said, "You look good in my skin." My chest tightened. My pulse stuttered. I looked up, and there he was, standing in the reflection, perfectly still, while my real body refused to move. The air smelled like smoke again, like burnt latex. I blinked, and for a split second, I saw the truth. The reflection wasn't behind the glass anymore. It was in the room, right in front of me. He leaned close, whispering words that chilled me straight through the bone. "This is how it begins," he said. "Every Halloween, one of us gets out." And in that moment, I realized what the clerk's warning had really meant. It wasn't about wearing the mask. It was about becoming it. I tried moving to a new town once, thought I could outrun whatever this was. New name, new job, new life. For a while, it worked, until October crept in again. The nights got colder, the air heavier, and one morning, taped to my door was a box, no return address. Inside, wrapped in old newspaper, lay another mask, smoother, cleaner, waiting. I threw it into the fire, watched the latex bubble and melt, releasing that same sickly sweet smell. But as the flames hissed, I heard laughter, faint, childlike, coming from inside the fire. And when it died down, the mask was gone. The ash, perfectly shaped like a face. Now every Halloween night I find myself walking back to that place. Not the ruins, they're long gone, but something deeper. A pull, like gravity, like memory. My feet move before I can think. The streets twist themselves familiar. The air feels too still. By midnight, I'm there again, standing in front of a cracked mirror that shouldn't exist anymore. No mask this time, just skin that doesn't quite fit and a smile that feels borrowed. And in the reflection, there are others now. Faces that shift behind the glass, whispering names. Some I recognize, most I don't. They all wear that same faint grin. I don't know what happens after midnight, but when I wake, there's always a new mask waiting somewhere nearby. On a chair, by a window, hanging from a nail in a wall that wasn't there the day before. And sometimes, I hear someone crying in the mirror. It sounds like me. Maybe it's yours next. So if you ever find a mask that looks too real, too human, don't wear it. Because when the mirror smiles before you do, it's already chosen. If you enjoyed the Hollow Mask, remember to like this video. It helps the channel grow and reach more listeners who love dark stories like this. Subscribe for new chilling tales every night and share this one with someone who'd never dare wear a mask again. Thanks for listening and watching. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Click it, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Pumpkin Hollow Road. You ever do something so stupid as a kid that even years later, It still knocks around in your head like a ghost that won't leave. For me, that was Pumpkin Hollow Road. Every town's got one, right? That one stretch nobody drives after dark. For us, it was this winding back road through endless cornfields, leading up to an old scarecrow perched on a hill. The legend went that if you hit it with your headlights, it moved. It sounded like total bull. So when Tyler dared me one night, let's go prove it's fake, I didn't even hesitate. Just four teens, half drunk on cheap beer and bad decisions, laughing into the dark. But sometimes, laughter's just the last sound before everything breaks. Pumpkin Hollow wasn't even on most maps. The road twisted through the kind of farmland that looked dead even in summer. No houses, no lights, just a long stretch of blacktop and the whisper of corn brushing against the wind. The kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like something holding its breath. I remember Tyler in the passenger seat, hanging halfway out the window, shouting into the night like it owed him something. Emma and Josh were in the back, filming on one of those cheap handheld cameras, our proof that the scarecrow didn't move. The radio was playing some static-laced rock song, the headlights carving twin tunnels through the dark. Everything felt normal, fun even. But then, just past mile marker 9, the air got heavy. The smell changed too, like damp soil and rot. That's when I saw it, the scarecrow on the hill. Arms out, head tilted slightly down, like it was waiting. Tyler grinned, "Get closer." So I did. The road narrowed, the cornfields leaned in, and as the beams hit its chest, the damn thing waved. No wind, no trick, it just moved. And in that instant, every bit of laughter in the car died. Emma whispered, "It's probably the wind," but her voice didn't sound convinced. We all stared into that tall, whispering corn. The stalks swayed, not all at once, but in a line, like something was weaving through them. Coming closer. Josh fumbled with the camera, the red light blinking. "Maybe it's a prank," he said. "Someone out here messing with us." Tyler laughed. Too loud, too forced. "Yeah? Then go check." No one moved. The scarecrow still stood on the hill, lit half golden by our headlights. I swear its head was tilted a little more to the side than before, watching, listening. Then the radio crackled. No music, just static that sounded almost like breathing. Tyler reached to turn it off and froze. A voice whispered through the static, "Turn around." Emma screamed. I killed the radio, but the voice kept echoing, faint and wet, like it was right behind the glass. We locked the doors. Every instinct screamed to drive, but the car wouldn't start. The key clicked, engine dead. No lights now, just the dark pressing in. That's when something hit the trunk, hard. Once, twice. Slow and deliberate, like someone testing how thick the metal was. Josh aimed the camera toward the back window. The screen showed nothing but grainy black, until something pale flickered across it. A face? A sack? I couldn't tell, but the shape moved, crawling along the edge of the field, closer to the car. Then the scarecrow was gone, just gone. "Where the hell is it?" Tyler shouted. My breath fogged the windshield. The air smelled like smoke now, sweet and burnt. Then I saw it, standing right in front of the car where the road should have been. Closer than before. Its straw arm was raised, pointing straight at us. Emma sobbed. "It's not supposed to move." Josh kept filming, whispering, "This is insane, man. This is..." Something hit the window beside him, a thud that cracked the glass. Straw scraped down the side of the car like fingernails. I tried the ignition again, desperate. The headlights flickered on, and the scarecrow was right there. Inches from the hood, its head turned. Slow, deliberate. And when its burlap mouth opened, something inside whispered my name. I didn't think, I just ran. Branches slapped my face, mud sucked at my shoes, and the corn closed around me like a throat. Behind me, I heard Emma screaming Tyler's name, again and again, until her voice broke into sobs. The flashlight beam swung wild across the stalks. Every flash caught glimpses, shadows that didn't move right, burlap fabric twisting where no wind blew. And that voice kept whispering, closer now, threading through the corn like smoke. "Your turn." I burst out into the open field, chest burning, heart punching my ribs. The old scarecrow pole stood in the center of the hill, empty now, ropes dangling loose. And lying beneath it, Tyler, or what looked like him. His face pale, his eyes stuffed with straw, his mouth stitched shut. I stumbled back, gagging. Emma crashed through the field behind me, the camera light shaking in her trembling hands. "Where's Josh?" she cried. I didn't answer, because I didn't know. Something rustled in the dark again, Heavy footsteps. Then Josh's voice, distant, broken. Help! Help me! He staggered into view, but his movements were jerky, unnatural. His head tilted to one side, mouth opening and closing like a puppet's. The beam caught his face, and there, pushing out of his shirt collar, was straw. Emma screamed and dropped the camera. It landed lens up, still recording. That's when I saw it. Another shape behind Josh, taller, broader, the Scarecrow. It stepped forward, dragging a trail of dirt and rope. The smell hit me, sweet rot and gasoline. It raised one arm toward me. The voice crawled back into my skull. You took his dare, now take his place. I ran for the car. Emma didn't follow. I didn't look back to see why. The keys were still in the ignition, miraculously. The engine roared alive on the first turn, like it had been waiting. As I slammed the gas, the headlights swept across the hill one last time. 3 scarecrows stood there now. One of them wore Emma's bracelet. And in the flicker of light before I tore away, the one in the middle raised its arm again and waved. I tried to tell myself it was all coincidence, some sick local joke, but the dreams wouldn't let me forget. Every night, I'd wake up to the sound of tires skidding, glass breaking, that whisper. Mom thought it was trauma. The cops called it survivor's guilt. But no therapy, no pills, no priest could explain why I kept finding bits of straw in my pockets or dirt under my nails when I hadn't been outside. Josh's parents held a memorial, closed casket. They said they found his body burned near the field, unrecognizable except for his necklace. Emma's wasn't found at all, but I saw her bracelet. I know where she is. I moved out of town after that. Tried to start over somewhere people didn't say the word Pumpkin Hollow like it meant hell. Still, every fall I'd see it, the same headline, year after year. Local teens disappear on Halloween night, and always in the background of the news footage, there it was. That hill, that scarecrow. At first I avoided it, changed the channel. But last year something shifted. They showed a photo taken at sunrise, the field behind the hill, covered in fog. And in the corner of the picture, almost invisible, was the outline of someone standing. Not the scarecrow, not a kid. Someone my height, my build. For a second I thought, that looks like me. I told myself I was paranoid, until last week. I woke up to find mud on my carpet, my shoes wet, and on the porch, a note, written on old paper, reeking of smoke and soil. Just 4 words, it's still your turn. The nightmares came back that night, but they weren't dreams. I could hear the road again. The corn, the static, the crunch of boots on gravel. And when I looked out the window, I swear I saw it standing across the street. Not the scarecrow. Me. Same clothes, same face. Only mine wasn't smiling. Its was. I tried to build a life far from that place. New name, new job, a tiny apartment where the only field is a patch of dead grass behind the parking lot. But distance doesn't mean escape. Not from that road. Not from what it took. Every October it finds me again. Not in dreams anymore, but in the quiet moments between them. I'll be brushing my teeth or locking the door, and I'll catch a reflection that isn't mine moving just a little too slow. Last week, I found muddy footprints on my porch, bare, human, leading up to my door. I followed them with a flashlight until they just stopped, like whoever made them had been lifted off the ground. Sometimes I think maybe it's not the scarecrow that haunts people. Maybe it's the road itself. Maybe it remembers every dare, every scream, every driver who swore they'd just take a quick look. Maybe it's alive in a way we can't understand, and every few years, it just reaches out for another one of us. I tell myself that's crazy, but tonight, there's a smell drifting in through the window, smoke and wet dirt. And when I close my eyes, I can almost hear it again. That slow, dragging sound of something walking just outside, brushing against the walls like it's tracing the outline of the place it plans to enter next. I don't think it wants to kill me. I think it wants me to remember, to finish what started that night. So, if you ever find yourself on Pumpkin Hollow Road, keep driving. Don't look at the hill. Don't try to be brave, because once it waves, you've already taken the dare. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video. It helps others find our channel and keeps these stories alive. Subscribe for daily horror tales and share this with someone who loves a good scare. Thank you for listening and watching. There's another story waiting for you right now on your screen, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night. The door at the end of the hall. You ever live somewhere so long you start believing you've memorized every creak, every shadow? Yeah, that's what I thought about my house. It was an old two-story place. Peeling paint, stubborn windows, a smell like rain-soaked wood. My parents left it to me after they passed, and for years, it was just me and the quiet. The kind of quiet that hums behind your ears until you forget it's there. I had my routines. Coffee at 6, fix the porch step that never stays fixed, feed the cat that isn't really mine but shows up every morning anyway. It was ordinary, peaceful even, until the storm. It started with a low growl that seemed to crawl beneath the floorboards. Power lines swayed, thunder rolled like furniture being dragged across the sky, and rain came in sideways, pelting the glass so hard it sounded like whispers trying to get in. When the lights flickered, I grabbed my flashlight and went to check the fuse box at the end of the hall, but something stopped me cold. There was a door there, a door I'd never seen before. It was old, older than the house maybe. The wood was dark, swollen from years of damp, and the knob, it wasn't metal. It looked like bone, smooth and pale, like it had been polished by too many hands. The weirdest part? The wallpaper ended around it, like the house had tried to hide it. I told myself it must have been there all along, that I just somehow never noticed. But the longer I stared, the more it felt like the door was noticing me back. And in the dim beam of my flashlight, I could have sworn I saw it breathe. That's when I heard it, just once, a knock, from the other side. I froze. The beam from my flashlight shook against the peeling wallpaper, making shadows twitch and crawl like something alive. The sound came closer, me but not me, echoing down that impossible hallway. My own rhythm, mirrored and hurried like whoever or whatever was walking toward me was trying to catch up. I stepped back. The air between the two hallways shimmered, bending like heat over asphalt. My reflection in the picture frame beside me rippled, then blinked, out of sync. I killed the light, thinking maybe I was losing it. Maybe I'd been alone too long. Maybe this was just the storm playing tricks. But the footsteps didn't stop. They paused when I paused. They ran when I ran. I slammed the door shut. The knob thudded once, like a pulse. Then silence. I locked my bedroom door that night for the first time in years. Didn't sleep though. I could still hear it, soft tapping from the hallway like fingernails dragging along the wall. At one point, I swear I saw shadows shift under the door frame, just enough to catch the faint glow from the lightning outside. By morning, the storm had cleared. Sunlight poured in through the windows like nothing had happened. I went to check the hall, convincing myself it was just exhaustion. But when I got there, the door was gone, completely. The wallpaper was seamless again. I should have felt relieved, but instead, something inside me cracked open, a deep, gnawing dread that didn't fade when I blinked. That night, I started noticing little things. My shoes weren't where I left them. The cat wouldn't come upstairs anymore. And when I walked down the hallway, I could swear the floorboards creaked one step after I moved. I tried to tell myself it was stress, isolation, grief catching up to me after years of pretending I was fine. But then, 3 nights later, I woke to the sound of breathing. Not mine, not the wind. It was coming from inside the wall, right where that door used to be. And when I pressed my ear against it, I heard my own voice whisper back, "Why did you close it?" I backed away, gasping, but that only made it worse. The knocking grew hungry. 3 short raps, then silence, then 3 again, perfectly timed with the pounding in my chest. It was sinking with me, studying me. I threw a chair at it. The wood splintered, but the sound didn't echo. It was like the door swallowed it whole. The air thickened, heavy with rot and something faintly sweet, like old perfume, the kind my mother used to wear. Then I heard her voice, soft, right behind the door. "Sweetheart, open up, please. It's cold in here." My breath caught. It wasn't possible. My mother had been dead for years. But the voice, God, it was her. The same tremble, the same warmth that used to calm me when the thunder scared me as a kid. "I just need to see you," she said. A sob tore out of me before I could stop it. I reached for the knob. It was warm again, beating like a heart. For a second, I didn't care. I just wanted to see her, to believe that the loneliness and grief hadn't been for nothing. But then her voice changed. It cracked, too deep, too dry, and it whispered, "You already did." The handle turned on its own. The door swung open, and standing in the hallway wasn't my mother. It was me. Same clothes, same face, only the eyes were wrong. Hollow, black, dripping something thick and dark. It smiled, and when it spoke, I heard my own voice say, "You shouldn't have shut me out." The lights exploded. The hallway bent like it was breathing, walls rippling like lungs. The other me stepped forward, its footsteps perfectly in sync with mine, until I couldn't tell who was moving first. I ran for the front door, but every handle led back to that hallway. Every door opened to the same scene. Me, walking toward myself, over and over, like the house was looping time just to watch me unravel. And over the chaos, the knocking never stopped. It came from the walls, the ceiling, the floor, until I realized it wasn't knocking anymore. It was inside, and it was my own heartbeat. I dropped the toothbrush and stumbled back. It couldn't be. I'd left that house miles away, burned half of it down, for God's sake. But the door was there, humming quietly, like it had followed me, like it belonged to me now. I told myself not to touch it. I taped it shut. I even nailed it closed, layer after layer, until the wall looked like a coffin. But no matter how much I sealed it, the air kept slipping out. Cold, steady breaths that smelled like the old house, like rain-soaked wood and burnt wires. People stopped visiting after a while. They said I looked pale, distracted. My boss asked if I was drinking. I laughed, but it came out dry. I wasn't sleeping, barely eating. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it, my double, standing in that doorway, whispering things I almost believed. Sometimes when the TV flickered or a reflection caught me off guard, I'd see another version of my apartment, dimmer, older, like the walls were watching me from both sides. Then one morning, I woke up to find every mirror in the place cracked, each one split perfectly down the middle, and in each reflection, I was still smiling. I called a priest. He didn't even make it past the entryway. The moment he stepped inside, every light bulb shattered. He looked at the door once, just once, and left without a word. Now, I don't invite anyone in. The neighbors think I'm strange. Maybe I am. I've learned to live with the whispers, to tune them out like background noise. But sometimes, late at night, I'll hear footsteps in the hallway. Soft, familiar. And when I go to check the locks, I notice something new every time. Sometimes the door is closer. Sometimes it's breathing louder. And once I swear I saw the handle twitch, like it was trying to remember how to open itself. I used to think it wanted me to come back. Now I'm starting to think it never left. And the worst part, when I walk past the mirror these days, my reflection still knocks. I've tried everything, moving again, new cities, new names, but it always finds me, always. I could be staying in a hotel and still, one night, there it is, down the hall, waiting. It never changes. Same faded wood, same bone white handle. Sometimes it appears half open, just enough for a shadow to slip through. Sometimes it's closed tight, pulsing like something alive is holding its breath on the other side. I stopped fighting it. You can't fight what's patient. You can only listen. And when I do, I hear everything I've tried to bury. My mother's voice, my own laughter echoing from years ago, words I never said to people I'll never see again. It's like the door doesn't lead anywhere. It just remembers. Every fear, every regret, every heartbeat I've ever wasted. That's what it feeds on. I used to think it wanted my soul, or maybe my body, something physical I could hide. But no, it only wants one thing, attention. The more I fear it, the stronger it gets. The quieter I stay, the louder it breathes. Last night, it knocked again, just once. And for the first time, I didn't move. I didn't flinch. I just sat there in the dark, matching my breath to its rhythm. And for a heartbeat, I swear it stopped, like it was listening. Maybe that's the trick. Maybe the door isn't a doorway at all. Maybe it's a mirror, and what's been trying to get out is the part of me I locked away long ago. Still, I keep the lights on. I can't help it. I know it's not gone. It never will be. So if you ever wake up in the dark and see a door where there wasn't one before, don't touch it. Don't even look too long, because some doors don't wait for you to open them. They wait for you to believe they're real. And once you do, you're already on the other side. If this story gave you chills tonight, don't forget to like the video. It helps this channel reach more people who love stories that crawl under your skin. Subscribe for more tales like this one, and share it with someone who loves a good scare. There's another story waiting for you right on your screen. Click it. I'll see you back here tomorrow night, if the door lets me.